analogy I use often is a bus. And what I mean by that is if you have the wrong people on your bus, they are taking up seats for the right people. So what I talk about is sometimes you have to have or ask or escort those wrong people off the bus. But I want to be very clear. I'm not saying bad people. I'm not saying evil people. I'm saying the wrong people for you. And then when you do that, you are allowing room for the right people to get on your bus. And
there is something special inside you.
Welcome to GNG Podcast with your host, speaker, best-selling author, Chaz Jackson.
Yo, what's going on, kings and queens? It's your boy Chaz Jackson coming back to you once again, representing GNG Gift and a Gift. Hey, I personally just want to take the time to tell each and every one of you, thank you for giving me your eyes and ears once again. It's great to dive deep into some inspiration that I pray will plant like a seed in your mind and assist you in becoming a greater version of yourselves. You know that our motto is we're all gifted differently to make a difference. I got my guy, King Chris, is in the house. Are you ready to get it, man?
I'm ready. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know the audience, they are so fired up to hear more about you and your story and how you got to where you are right now here in 2021 with the Positivity Tribe. Can you share your backstory on what built you up to doing the things that you do, adding value to people the way that you add value?
Yeah, I think, for me, my foundation is sports. I played almost, I think, every sport growing up. And then I played basketball and tennis in college, and I coached college basketball for a few years. And I think for me, that's been the foundation of being a coach, both on the court. When I was playing, I was a point guard. So I think I was the coach on the court, but then take it to the next level of coaching. And what I do is really, I love inspiring people. And for me, went through a really difficult divorce. Just, one of those things where, it can go one of two ways. I've found, it can be somewhat amicable and not that painful, or it can be the other extreme, which is just, grinding it out in court and lawyers and all that stuff. And for me, I just learned during that time, and it didn't happen overnight, and it wasn't, instantaneous where I just snapped my finger, but I got to the point where I realized that this happened for me as opposed to me. And what I mean by that is it gets to a point in anything in life, and I'm not in any way saying or sharing that what I went through is horrendous and it's worse than anybody else, because we all have our challenges. But it gets to a point where you say, I can do one of two things. I can learn from this and grow from this, or I can wallow in it and just sit there and say it happened to me and woe is me. And to be completely transparent, there were those days where it was difficult to be positive. It was difficult to always look on the bright side. But I got to a point where the people that I was surrounding with, the people that were in my corner, in my tribe, and on my bus were really people that inspired me, motivated me. But at the end of the day, I knew that they really and truly had my best interest. And for me, that was something that was really powerful when I realized that I can own this and I can become a better version of me for my kids, my future, my legacy. And it was challenging. But, whenever I do my speaking on stage, I always talk about it in some way, shape, or form. I say, raise your hand, or how many of us have had a really bad day? And they raise your hand. I say, okay, now keep your hand up. How many of us have had a really, really bad morning or afternoon where you really felt it was going to be the worst day, and people put their hands up? And I say, now we've all made it through those days because we're here right now. And when you take that into consideration, it's kind of cheesy when people, say, oh, well, but the fact is, whenever we've had those days that were horrible, the worst day ever, we made it through it. And the question is, do you learn from it? Do you grow from it? And do you become a better version of yourself?
Dude, thank you so much for diving deeper into your story. And I really like that. And and it sounds like, I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, but you had a choice to play the victim role in your circumstances, right? To give up, to throw in the towel, wave the white flag, but you decided to be victorious and keep striving forward, learning from those mistakes and And as my guy Chip Baker always says, there are blessings in every lesson. And you've definitely been blessed to inspire and encourage our young people and just anyone that's been put in your path. And I know you're doing that through the Positivity Tribe. So when you hear that, what comes to mind for you? What does that mean to you?
It's the famous quote by Jim Rohn, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most of your time with." That to me is something that I realize in life is so important. And it for you, it could be 4, for me, it could be 6, for somebody else, it could be 12. It's not about the number, but it's about the concept of who you're with, who you're surrounding yourself with has a huge impact on everything you do. And I don't think we understand that enough. And the analogy I use often is a bus. And what I mean by that is if you have the wrong people on your bus, they are taking up seats for the right people. So what I talk about is sometimes you have to have or ask or escort those wrong people off the bus. But I want to be very clear. I'm not saying bad people. I'm not saying evil people. I'm saying the wrong people for you. And then when you do that, you are allowing room for the right people to get on your bus. And the one thing that I talk about as well is sometimes people need to get off your bus for a short period of time. It might be a week, a month, a year. And then sometimes people get off forever. But you always should leave that in a good way, where if someone gets off or if you ask somebody to get off your bus, you leave it open where, if things change down the road. But that to me was super impactful to me. But it's a two-way street. And what I mean by that, very simple, is if you and I are very good friends and you're the guy I'm always calling whenever I have an issue, I always, Chaz, what's going on? I need you. But then when you call me, I'm not around, or I answer, hey, Chaz, I'm really busy. Let me hit you up in, a couple hours when I get done with this. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't work, where you're there for me always. And I know that if I have a challenge, a problem, you're my guy. But then the other side of that coin is when you need me or want me, I'm not there. So it goes both ways. And for me, I took that to heart, where I was talking about early on my bus and my tribe and people in my corner. And it also made me think, really took a deep look at, am I the same person for those people? Am I being the best version of me? And I don't know who said it, but there's a saying out there, is to be a great, or to have a great friend, you first need to be a great friend.
Wow, I like that.
If you think about that for a second, I think we all invert that and say, okay, I need great friends. I want great friends. And when I get great friends, then I'm going to be a great friend in return. And it's exactly the opposite. Is if you're looking for great friends, if you're looking for a great partner, a great business associate, you need to be that person first, and then it comes to you. And I think once we start thinking about that, it's the famous Zig Ziglar quote, you can have anything you want in life if you just help enough other people get what they want. I think that is so true.
Gosh, you're saying so many valuable things, and I love that bus analogy. Like, who's on your bus? And it doesn't necessarily mean they're bad or they're evil, but are they beneficial? I like to say a lot of times, are the people around you nourishing you or drowning you? Using like a water analogy, and it sounds like you want the people on your bus who are nourishing you and who are adding value to you. And it's going back and forth, right? When they're there for you, you have to be there for them. So I really like that, Chris. And the 7-point creed, right? I know I've seen that on your website, and I really like it. And this show is built around providing tips and techniques for young men as they strive to grow in personal development. Out of those 7 points, can you provide a tip or technique that comes to mind off of that list that really just stands out to you that you need to apply?
Yeah, I think if I can take 2 on there, the 2 I would take are be positive and be grateful. And talking about the second one first, it doesn't matter how difficult our day is or our week is or our month is. We all, every single one of us, have something or someone to be grateful for. It doesn't mean that expressing or showing gratitude that it makes everything perfect. But it makes everything a little bit better when you focus on not what you don't have or lack of, but you switch the channel and say, okay, I'm going to now focus, or I'm going to I'm going to show gratitude for this person or this thing that I do have. Maybe I don't have that amazing dream car, but I do have a really good car that gets me to and from work or to and from, my activities. And I think that's such an important thing. And then the other one is being positive. Somebody we were talking about offline before we started is John Gordon, and John's a good friend of mine, and he's taught me so much over the past few years, not only through his book and mentorship, but I've had him on my show a couple times. And his positive perspective is not this fake Pollyanna, everything's wonderful, but it's when you're having a difficult day, when you're going into a very difficult situation, it doesn't mean you just put on this magic hat and snap your finger and say everything's wonderful. It means you acknowledge that it's going to be difficult, but you approach it with the most positive attitude you can. And that is something that I work a lot with my athletes, especially the college athletes, is that positive mental advantage where you say, okay, I'm going to put myself in the best frame of mind. I'm going to think positive about what I'm about to do. I'm going to put myself in the positive frame of mind in regards to this practice or this game. And I think people undervalue how much impact a positive mindset can have. And again, it doesn't mean if you're an average player that you just sit down and say, I'm going to think positively and you become the next Kobe Bryant. But I firmly believe whether you're, the 10th best player or the second best player on the team, you can become better by changing your mindset. Again, I want to be very clear. It doesn't make you from, average or below average to amazing, but whatever level you're at, that positive mental advantage can take you a little bit higher. And that, as you know, being a former athlete yourself, that could be the difference of losing a game or winning a game. That could be the difference of winning a championship or not winning a championship. And it's something that people can control a lot more than other things, because you and I can both control our mind and our thoughts. We can't control referees. We can't control our teammates or other teammates, but you can control how you approach things.
Man, drop the mic. That is so important to understand and consider. And whoever's listening, as we apply some of these tips and techniques, something that resonates with you, let's take the daily challenge on building our minds, right? And that is so key. What you think about grows, and how you prepare yourself is going to influence you, the people around you, and those that you're called to influence, led by God. And this is such a amazing interview. I know that someone's listening right now. Chris is like, I want to get in front of more of what he's doing. I also want to know how things are moving forward for you in 2021, what you have coming up that we can be praying about or just supporting you on. So can you share that and contact information?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So the book, The Positivity Tribe, is out. It's actually based upon these positivity notes that we've spread all throughout the country. We've put over 17,000 out in almost every single state, 6 different countries. Our second book, The Positivity Tribe in the Locker Room, comes out in August of this year. And, for me, everything I do is on our website, noquitliving.com or thepositivitytribe.com. And we have our No Quit Living podcast as well. And, I always leave my personal email address, which is chris@noquitliving.com. And the reason I do that, Chaz, is I just love connecting with like-minded people. And I've had so many people in my life that I've reached out to that were at a much higher level or much further down the road. And they've been willing and giving of both their time and their energy. So for me, I love to pay it back. And I always, love connecting with new people. So if anybody wants to chat, and then if anybody wants these notes, we actually send them to you. They can be either filled out like this one is, or the middle part will be blank. And our whole hope is that somebody receives a positivity note when they really need it. And what you and I both know is, you see a lot of people walking down the street or driving, and if you don't know that person, you have no idea what challenges or obstacles they're dealing with. And sometimes something as a smile, a good morning, how are you doing, or even a positivity note can be the real difference between them giving up or them keep going.
Gosh, thank you so much, Chris, for your time, your effort, and being on GNG podcast. Again, this has been such a treat. So much value has been given. And I want to encourage whoever's listening right now, give us in the comments a tip or technique that you're going to take the daily challenge on implementing into your life. And as always, I want you to stay up with GNG. More episodes coming soon. I want to encourage you to do 2 things for me. Keep that crown on your heart. And please remember this. We are God's echo. I love each and every one of you. Peace.
Thank you for listening to GNG Podcast. Remember, you are gifted differently to make a difference. Please visit ChazJacksonSpeaks.org and let's continue to grow together. God bless.